Break shot is one of the most underrated aspects in pool games, and very often I can see players who do not realize how much they can lose by not practicing this element of the game. They are hitting the cue ball very hard and do not think what will happen with the cue ball after the break. So in this case, I am going to show you 5 tips and techniques you need to know to execute super powerful break shot with very high control of balls. I will use 3 different racks to help you understand how you can control your break during 8 ball, 9 ball and 10 ball rack. And trust me, this is very important topic, so if you think that this lesson is made for you, then it will be awesome if you leave a thumbs up for me and hit the subscribe button to never miss any of my interesting videos. First of all, before we hit the cue ball, we need to know how important is our stance. Many players do not realize that we need to slightly change position of our body and legs to transfer more power to the cue ball. The key is to allow our body to move forward during this type of shot. If we try to make traditional stance characteristic for normal shots, then our legs are placed very wide and our body is locked. As you can see, my back leg is straightened, and this prevents me to move my body forward to transfer more power to the cue ball during this shot. Each pro pool player has different technique, but if we look closer at Shane Van Bonning or Kopini, then we can see that their legs and bodies are positioned completely different. First of all, our bodies should be placed a bit closer to the table and our legs should be located closer together. This position makes our back leg significantly bent at the knee, and it may look very strange, but trust me, this is exactly how we are able to transfer more power to the cue ball, by moving forward our body during the shot. If we are making backswing, then our body should slightly move up, and when we start to move our cue forward to hit the cue ball, then we need to straighten our back leg and move our body. If we look closer on Shane's break in slow motion, then we can clearly see how he moved his body during the shot. He opens more space for his arm to generate maximum power during hit. But correct stance and movement of our body is not the only important key to generate more power, because equally important is length of our bridge. And yes, I know, I don't have my bridge hands, so it will be more challenging to explain this aspect. So please forgive me. I will try my best to help you understand this aspect. To transfer more power to the cue ball, we need to make bit longer and deep backswing, and we can achieve it only with bit longer bridge. Perfect bridge length should have around 10 inches, and this gives us possibility to move our arms smoothly and hit the cue ball from optimal distance. If we shorten bridge length, then we have very limited space to move our cue stick back. Which in next step result that we are not able to develop longer backswing. But if we lengthen our bridge much more, then it will be difficult to hit the cue ball at intended point, which in most cases result with wrong contact with front ball. If we look closer again on pro pool players, then we can find another important thing which has big impact on shot power. Shorten and loosen your grip. And you won't believe how important aspect it is and what benefits it can give you. We should hold our cue a bit earlier and our grip should be very relaxed. We can't hold our cue too tight, because then we will have much more limited cue action and we will not be able to make longer and deeper backswing. If we compare this how look our stance, bridge and grip during normal shot and break shot, then we can see significant differences. All of these aspects will allow you to create best possible movement of your arm, and in next step will result with higher power transferred to the cue ball. But at this moment we need to ask a question. Where to place the cue ball before the break and where to leave it after the shot? Situation is very simple if we talk about best possible position for the cue ball after the break, because we should leave it in the center area of the table. From this area, we'll have highest chance to get easy ball to start, regardless of what type of game we play. Okay, but what about the cue ball before the shot? Where to put this ball and what type of spin to apply? And this is not obvious situation, because during 8-ball and 10-ball breaks, which are very similar, we should place the cue ball slightly off head spot, because from this place, cue ball has lower distance before it hit the front ball. During this type of breaks, we need to hit the cue ball slightly above its center as full as possible, to after contact with front ball, leave it in the center area of the table. But situation is completely different if we talk about 9-ball break, because then we have different rules and different types of break. In most cases, we can put the cue ball behind the head string on the left or right side, but sometimes we are forced to break from the box, and then we have much more limited possibilities. But we need to remember to place the cue ball as close as possible to the head string to decrease distance between the balls. We can still hit the cue ball slightly above its center to leave it in the center area of the table without rails, but also we can use cut break, and then we need to hit it with different amount of low English depending on what rules we face. But you can't put the cue ball exactly on the head string. This is huge mistake, and if we break from this place, then it results with illegal break. To be a legal break, players must break from behind the head string. The head string is not part of the area in which we can place the cue ball, so placing it exactly on the head string means that it is not in the zone. And after this detailed explanation, we can move to the last part of this video to discover the most important rules and how we can control our break to get at least one ball to choose from. Before we execute break shot, we need to know how to rack balls. During elbow break, front ball needs to be placed on the foot spot. We need to place balls in triangle in any order, but we must remember a few important things. A ball needs to be located in the center of the rack. 2 balls in the bottom corners must be from opposite groups. And we cannot place the balls in such a way that the next 5 balls in a row are from the same group. During break shot, the head ball or second ball must be struck first, and at least 4 object balls must driven to the rails, or a ball must be pocketed and the cue ball may not be shot into a rail before the rack. As I said before, 10-ball break is very similar to 8-ball, but this time we have bit different rules. We need to place balls in triangle in any order, but this time we need to put one ball in front of the rack, which is placed on the foot spot. And 10 ball needs to be located in the center area of the triangle. For the break shot to be legal, the player must strike head ball first and either pocket an object ball or drive at least 3 object balls to one or more rails. Situation is much more difficult if we talk about 9-ball break. The object balls are racked in diamond shape with the one ball at the top of the diamond. 9-ball is located in the center of the diamond, and the other balls are in random order, racked as tightly as possible. Depending on rules, we have 2 different positions of rack. In first scenario, one ball is located on the foot spot, while in second scenario, 9-ball is located in this spot. For the break shot to be legal, the player must strike one ball first and in most cases satisfy the 3-point rule. This rule means that if no ball is pocketed, then 3 object balls needs to reach head string. If only one ball is pocketed, then 2 object balls needs to reach the head string, and similarly if 2 balls are pocketed, then only 1 object ball needs to reach head string. And this rule does not matter when 3 balls are pocketed, because none of object balls have to reach headstring. But when I was explaining the principle of properly positioning the cue ball before the break, there was information that we need to place it behind the headstring. The situation is different when deciding whether the object ball has reached the headstring or not. The object ball does not have to cross the headstring to be accepted, and only needs to get the headstring, and if only a small part of it is behind the headstring, then it is counted. Okay, so if we know the most important rules, then we need to discover how we can control the balls during the break shot to pot at least one ball and get easy start. Situation during 8-ball break is very simple, because as I said before, we need to put the cue ball slightly off head spot and hit it with high speed slightly above its center. Our goal should be to pot one of 2 balls from second row in triangle into the one of middle pockets. If we strike the head ball from the triangle as full as possible, there is very high chance that we leave the cue ball perfectly in the center area of the table, what increases our chances to catch several balls to choose from. So it is very important to avoid leaving the cue ball close to the rails, because then our chance to get easy start is much lower. Situation is almost the same during 10-ball break, because we need to put the cue ball in similar place like before and apply same spin and speed. Our goal, as before, is to pot one of 2 balls from second row into the one of middle pockets. However, there is much more difficult to get easy start, because we need to control position of the one ball, which in ideal case should be possible to pot to one of top corner pockets. Situation is very complicated if we talk about 9-ball break. This time we are using different options depending on the rules that we have in a given moment. The first scenario assumes that one ball is on the foot spot and we don't have break box rule. So in this case we can put the cue ball on the left or right side of the headstring in comfortable distance from the rail to make correct bridge. Our goal is to pot one of 2 wing balls into the bottom corners, depending on from which side of the table we are hitting the cue ball. We should focus to hit one ball as full as possible and apply a bit of topspin to the cue ball to leave it in the center area of the table, while the one ball is going towards one of top corner pockets. And there is second way where we can use cut break to still pot one of 2 wing balls into the bottom corners, but this time we need to strike front ball thinner and apply a bit of low English. And if we will be able to perfectly control speed of this shot, the one ball lands possible to pot into one of 2 top corner pockets. And of course we need to use enough speed to satisfy 3-point rule. Situation changes if 9 ball is located on the foot spot, because if we try to strike front ball with full contact, then wing ball hits rail before the corner pocket. So in this case we need to use cut break again to make it possible to pot wing ball into the corner pocket and control position of the one ball in same way like before. But this time we need to use a bit more speed to satisfy 3-point rule, and be careful to not hit front ball too thin, because then there is high chance that we pot one ball into the middle pocket, which result that we need some luck to get easy start. But situation is much more difficult if we have 9 ball on the foot spot and we are forced to break from the box. This time it is very difficult to make wing ball using cut break, because we need to hit one ball very thin and use much more English. We should aim to make one ball into the middle pocket. Additionally, we need to hit the cue ball very hard, because it is very difficult to satisfy 3-point rule. So during this type of hit, cue ball control is very low and we need some luck. So as you could see, break shot is a very important part of our game, and in most cases can significantly increase your chances to win more racks. So if you like this lesson and you found it helpful, then please consider leaving a thumbs up for me and hit the subscribe button to never miss any of my new videos. Thank you very much for watching, and I can't wait to see you again in the next episode. Take care.